Hey everyone, welcome to our first ever tutorial for the TILTEDU channel. This channel is going to cover a variety of topics ranging virtual production, game development, asset creation, and much more. So today's main focus is on asset creation and how you can create your own 3D models using the free open source software known as Blender 3D. So without further ado, let's get into it. As you can see, this is the asset we are basically trying to recreate, a sci-fi gun asset. So I got the inspiration to recreate this model after watching the new Starfield trailer. And one of the ships had a gun attached to it that looks similar to this. So before we get started with anything, when you're trying to recreate something that already exists, is reference. Always have your references set up so that you can have a reference point on how it should look, how the shapes are, how it is scaled, how each individual edges look. So what I did was download this software known as PureRef. So PureRef is basically a free software that you can download. I have it linked in the description where you can just lay out all your reference images, and it provides you easy access to all your references at a single canvas. The Starfield ship is split into different parts. We are focusing on the weapons and this weapon to be more specific. As you can see, I've taken some liberties to change the design, but overall it is inspired from this gun design right here. This is from the Starfield official website, and you can just Google this image. But I also got a few other images where the weapon is actually showcased very well. So I actually got this from an Adam Savage video. Thank you, Adam Savage, for that. So make sure you go watch that video. It's really cool. One of the things I usually do while modeling these hard surfaces is use the mirror modifier. I'll just basically create one half of the object and let the mirror modifier do the rest of the work for me. So that is what I'm going to do in this example as well. Now, if you look at the reference, you can clearly see this is not just a simple cylinder. There's a little bit of curvature on the side. So I'm going to try and add that curvature into the object. But you can see we have a problem. The mouth or the front of the ship is being split open. Now there is a simple fix for that. What you can do is just select this edge and bring it closer, and also enable clipping so that it becomes a single vertex. And I'm going to extrude the rest of the geometry, and at the end I'm going to just make it to a pipe. Now we need a exit point for the blaster. To do that, you can just select the face and press I to insect it and extrude it as well. Instead of going outside, we're going inside. Now we can just continue extruding. We're going to recreate that gap. You're going to select all these vertices and you're going to press Ctrl B to bevel it. Now what you can do is press 3 to switch over into face select mode and right click, and instead of extruding it, what you can do is extrude along normals. What that will do is allow you to extrude inward, allowing you to add that gap over there. And if you want to connect these two faces without extruding this, what you can do is just select these faces as well as these and press F3 on your keyboard and search in bridge edge loops. That will basically create a new piece of geometry in between those assets. So we have created a new modified version of the gun because I don't want to completely rip off the team at Bethesda Studios because they have put in a lot of work into that game. So I'm going to customize this model. So I'm going to show you an interesting technique on how you can create these line meshes around tip of the gun or the head of the gun. What I'll do is duplicate this face. I just pressed Ctrl D to do that, and I'm going to separate this by pressing P. Select the face, go into the delete menu and select this option right here, only face. So when we switch over into vertex mode, you can see we still have the vertex mesh even though the face is gone. Now what we can do is go ahead and select these vertexes and extrude them. But if we just extrude them randomly, you can see if we look from the side, we'll have to manually tweak it a little bit. What I suggest is turning on snapping and extruding it like that. It sticks on to the surface. Now what you can do is select all the vertex points that you need and press Ctrl I and delete the rest of them. So you just have these vertex points. Now you can just select the vertex point and turn off snapping for this and press extrude and extrude it to the Y direction so that you get a face. You can just add a solidify modifier to get a little bit of thickness. And that is how you can easily add shapes like this to the mesh. So we have completed the basic modeling part. Now we can switch over into the texturing. So there is two types of texturing you can do. One is shader based and the other is image texture based. Both of these have their advantages and their disadvantages. If you're creating your model for a game engine, it is better to use an image texture based material rather than a shader one, because the shaders that are created inside of Blender are not supported inside of your game engine. So we're going to use image textures for this example. Maybe in a future video I'll try to break down how shaders work. So where can I get these image textures? Well, there is a website that I've linked down in the description known as textures.com, where you can just type in your keywords for our example, that is sci-fi. And if you scroll down, some cool looking textures. I've already downloaded a few of these. Going to our shading tab, I'm going to create a new material. Before we start anything, I would urge you to install a few add-ons, especially the Node Wrangler add-on, that is this one right here. It is really useful and I'm going to use that in this video as well. So make sure you enable this add-on, and I'm going to select the principal BSDF and I'm going to press Ctrl Shift T. By enabling the Node Wrangler add-on, when I press Ctrl Shift T, it will automatically map all those textures into image texture nodes and connect it to the specified material part of the shader. You can see I have a few textures over here. I have the ambient occlusion, roughness, normal, and albedo. When I do that, you can see it is automatically mapped, but sometimes it will get some errors like this ambient occlusion is mapped because there isn't a specified node for ambient occlusion in the default material. What I can do is mix the base color and the ambient occlusion to get the effect. So what I'll do is Shift A and search for the mix node, and we are mixing a color value. So I'm going to set it to color, add that to B, and I'm going to increase the factor so that I can see properly. The texture has appeared, but it has appeared a little bit stretched, but don't worry, we'll fix that. Go into your UV editing tab. We select our object right here, press A to select the whole object. You can see this representation is influencing how the texture is mapped onto the object. So if we edit this UV map, you can better apply your texture. So that is what we're going to do. We'll manually unwrap this part of the shape. To manually unwrap an object, what you can do is select the object in edit mode, select the edge, and we're going to tell this is a seam. And what do I mean by seam? So this is basically going to tell Blender this is a point where you can cut off that UV map and split it into a different one. Now you can see it's still getting these issues. Now there is a solution for that. That is because the UV is stretching, and if you want to see if your UV is stretching or not, what you can do is go into the settings over here and just enable this button to display the stretching. So a solution to that is what you can do is select this face and press A to select the rest of it. Go into F3 and type in follow, and you will see follow active chords menu. And what you can do is and press OK. Now we have basically straightened out our UVs. It is easier for us to adjust. You can do the same with all the objects. So I'm going to select this face. Now for smaller edges, what I would suggest is using the Smart UV project, scaling it down and adding it to a specific square. So that part is done. Now coming over to our gun tip, I'm going to do is add UV seams like I added earlier. Okay, so we have finished unwrapping our object and go into the shading tab. You can just increase the normal map value to add a bit more detail into your image. If I increase the strength of a normal map, you can see it looks much more detailed. So this is a simple and cheap technique to create these sci-fi looking models that look like they have a lot of detail, but in reality, they are just simple pieces of geometry. So that was a basic tutorial on how you can create your own 3D models using the free open source software that is Blender. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content, make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Again, thank you for watching. Till next time.